everyone, welcome to 3D3 War Games. Tonight, we're going to be painting a Grey Knight's Terminator. At least the armor. I'll get to the other stuff later.
Grey Knight's Terminator!
First color we're going to start off with, we're going to do a base coat of Lead Belcher. Lead Belcher is what we're going to do all the armor parts on this model. We can be somewhat sloppy with it too. That was a nice save. We don't have to be perfect, as we're just going to be coating the model with this color. Get a little on your brush. I use a wet palette. You don't have to use a wet palette, but they do help out a lot, especially for keeping your paint from drying up too fast. Alright, so here we go. We want to get a nice, somewhat even coat. It doesn't have to be perfect. We can always kind of go over it, spread it out a little bit. Just get everywhere you can. Don't worry about the little bits and stuff like that. We're going to be going over those later. We just want to get all of this color all over the model. Nooks and the crannies. Nice thing about Lead Belcher is it covers really well. And we're not going for neatness here, we're going for coverage. Get every little spot that you can get. Belcher done. What you want to do now is let this dry and rinse off your brushes that you used, and we'll come back for the next color in just a second. Okay, Lead Belcher is dry, so next color we're going to be using is Grey Knight's Steel. It's another base. It's got a little bit of a blue hue to it, and it helps produce the little blue hue that we're going for the Grey Knight's armor here. So we'll start with that. Now we're just going over the armor pieces. About being too clean with this. We want to try and avoid all the recesses if we can, though, because we are going to be going over those with a different color. not go too heavy on this either. We're just trying to tint everything that we colored with lead Belcher. That spot's a bit tricky. Okay, so there's our granite steel. We're going to wait for all that to dry, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, next part. The granite steel is dry, so we're going to do a little bit of a glaze, if you will. So we're switching over to contrast talus, our blue, contrast medium. So basically you want to do 1 part of the blue to about 3 or 4 parts of the medium, depending on how blue you want your armor to be tinted. So I do 1 part blue and 4 parts medium, just to get a nice little hue. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply that towards the bottom of the armor plating. You don't want to get all over it, just enough so that it looks like it's got a nice little blue hue to it. Spots that pool a little bit too much, don't be afraid. You can just kind of pull that paint right off of there again. spots that I recommend you get all of are the arms, and the hands too. Makes the next step a little easier because the spaces in between the fingers can be a little tricky on the next part. Spot in the inner leg here. A little heavy here, we're going to spread that out. Okay, so now our blue hue is almost complete on this model. I'm gonna wait for this to dry a bit. This takes a little while than the other two colors to dry. And once it's dry, I'll show you the next step. Okay, the blue tint is dry, so our next step is going to be adding straight talus art blue, and we're going to be doing that in the little armor segments. So kind of in between certain spots of the armor. So real easy to point out would be the feet. Don't need too much. This stage is all about brush control. Okay. You can see we got in the recesses of the armor, the little in between the segments and stuff like that. It's kind of like reverse highlighting, I guess, but it makes kind of a cool effect. So you get a little bit of the blue really kind of pulling into the shadows of the armor, which is pretty cool. So we'll let this dry and move on to the next step. Okay, so next step is actually a lot of fun. We're going to do a dry brush of a rune fang steel. So what we want to do is going to say a small to medium-sized dry brush, get a little bit of the paint on there, wipe it off on a paper towel, do a test on your thumb. So if you get like a little bit of metallic hue on your thumb or something like that, that's the effect we're looking for. We don't want too heavy. Like if you rub the brush on your thumb and you get a lot of metallic coming off, that's too much. So I'll show you a little bit here maybe. So we go like this. It's not really showing up on my thumb too much, which is exactly what we want. So we just kind of go over it. Then it's going to pick up all the raised parts on the armor. Start seeing some nice light silver around the edges. That's really all we're looking for. Nice, bright silver along the edges of the armor. That's how we do the Grey Knight's armor. I'll see everybody for the next tutorial. I'm going to show you how to do some more details on the armor, and all the little skulls and the writing in between their armor plates and stuff like that will be the next step. But for now, that's how we do the blue tinted armor for Grey Knights. See you soon.